Good morning, everybody. Event one is done. First impressions, Derek.
It was wild. Lawson looks good, man. You called it.
I did. If you guys were watching earlier, I called Emma Lawson and Jan Koski, and yeah, both took a first place. So if you guys were playing Heat 1, definitely should have done that. Got some people on here. Lucy, welcome. Jackie Millie, how are you? Ken, TJ, JK, Graham. I think this is a good place to start. Uncle Pat off to another flyer. That was not expected. It looks like he probably finished in the bottom 10, along with Medeiros and Lazar. Did anybody see what happened to Medeiros?
I didn't see.
I had heard that possibly his chain popped somewhere in like the fourth lap, but not sure. I guess with Vellner, I mean, that's a big hole again, isn't it?
Yeah, he's used to it at this point, I guess.
To be fair, I also think that he's got two pretty good events for him coming up. I think like the Pig Chipper will be a really good one for him. And like he does have a gymnastics background, so I think it will be like, it's obviously not ideal, but I think he'll do well in the next two events.
Yeah. Koski on the men's side, I mean, he was definitely in charge, stayed there in the top 5. Looked strong throughout. I think that was probably a pretty good strategy, right? I mean, we saw some of the women kind of go out hot, Laura and Katrin, and I think paid for a little bit, but Koski seemed to have a pretty good strategy there.
Yeah, he obviously, I think that's the main situation where it's really clear that he's got some experience with cycling, and it's not just because it's on the bike, but it's the way that you like saw him communicate with the others. He was the one in that group that was able to kind of organize them so that, you know, they had their turns at the front and like they were able to kind of make that breakaway group work. Whereas like with the women's side, you obviously had that chase group, but it was almost like there was no one of them that kind of had the experience that Jonna does with cycling to be able to coordinate an effort to try to catch up. So I think that was one of the things that like really obviously made the difference with the men's versus the women's in terms of how that event played out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you saw on that first one, Jamie Simmons, Horvath, Lawson kind of took to an early lead, and Horvath kind of pulled away early. She looked really strong. Thought you had it called, Derek, and then
yeah, broke my heart, man. Broke my
heart. Also, first turn, there quite a little bit of a spill there. It looks like Sayer Kaya and Matilda Garnes kind of got stuck in together, and then Emma Carey also got into that and went off the course. I guess when Emma Carey's kind of last place, kind of far behind, didn't look very strong. Do you think in that situation, if you're not comfortable with it, should she have maybe, I don't know, maybe she didn't have the ability to or not, but was it better to just take the 40th place and coast, or scramble for those handful of points? What do you think, Derek?
Man, I think, you know, they're out here to compete, and it's it's really hard to turn that off once that gear starts moving, you know. So I guess my biggest thought would be if she were to somewhat coast take the 40th, like what does that do from a mental aspect in future events? So because it's, you know, she clearly got back on, she's doing what she can do. And I think that will bode well for her just in terms of mental capacity later on, knowing that she still pushed when she's in last, you know?
Yeah. What Lucy, your mindset, like if you do have an event that you're not as strong at, like, and you are, near the back, like how does that affect you mentally and kind of, especially in a 40-minute event, like the first 2 minutes, she already realizes that she's in a hole and she has 38 minutes. Like, what does that do from a mindset perspective, and how do you kind of stay in it?
I mean, I think, the saving grace in that situation is that it was 2 minutes into a 40-minute event. And so there is time to kind of turn that around. I think the difficulty is obviously, as you say, like staying mentally with it, when I almost think that I would have the opposite sort of mentality to what Derek just said. I think like,
me too.
I think, especially when you look at the points distribution, like obviously there's the smaller drops, the lower you go down. So for me, fighting for 1 point, it's not worth it at that point in time. If it's like a real, you have to put yourself in a hole to get yourself out of that hole. With it being the first event of however many events that there is. And she obviously there are plenty of things that Emma Carey is very good at that are still to come. I do think though, like if I was to put myself in that dive for point situation, it's just got to be like head down, and you are just trying to take inches off the person in front of you until you catch up with them. You almost can't think anything more than that, because the more of those negative thoughts that come in, like if you end up beating yourself up halfway through an event, it's not helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I think we don't have a leaderboard yet. It looks like if you go look at the leaderboard right now, it has like the number of reps or laps that they've completed, but even then they're out of order. It has Emma down there in like 31st. So we don't have a good view of the complete leaderboard, but there are definitely some athletes like Emma Carey, like Medeiros, like Lazar, like Pat, who definitely have some ground to make up. John, how are you doing?
What's up? Hey, I'm in the airport, so if it's too loud, let me know and I'll hop off.
Nice. Were you able to catch some on the phone?
Yes, I've watched everything.
Nice. Elise Carr Rodeo, $4.99. Thank you. Vellner wouldn't perform as well the whole weekend if he didn't motivate himself by digging the hole. John, you're the guy riding Vellner all week, man. What do you think?
Honestly, his saving grace is that Justin did so bad. That's the only. I honestly think he's not that mad about it because Justin did bad. I think he can come back and beat Roman and beat Adler. Adler's somebody who I would be scared of right now. Adler
looked good,
and he's got home run hits coming too. It's not like the rest of the week's gonna be bad for him. But Justin's that guy that nobody can beat because he's so freaking consistent. So for Vellner's bad event to have Justin be bad in it also, I think he will take that.
Yes.
Do we know what happened to Justin?
It sounded like somebody said that he may have popped his chain.
Is he not able to get another bike?
You can get another bike, but you have to go, depending on where you are. I saw in the briefing that you can only go forward to go get it. So like, even if you just passed one of those stations, you can't run backwards. You have to go run to the next one. And so I can't remember who it was in cyclocross where that happened. It was at Carrie Pierce, right? Remember she ran like half the lap back then and like lost all the time.
Yeah.
So if that was the case, because I don't think he was doing that bad, and then all of a sudden he's sitting there with Vellner near the very end.
I wish we had an updated leaderboard so I can see just how bad the finish was, because I have no idea. If he's like 22nd, it's not bad at all. We'll take that. Go win the pig chipper, and then you're good.
Right.
But if it's like 35th, then it's like, oh, Jeff Adler's looking really good right now as far as winning the CrossFit Games.
It did definitely look like Vellner, Medeiros, Lazar were all in the bottom 10, to me at least. ESC Sounds, great analysis as always. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Thank you for that. On the women's side, Laura Horvath, decent finish, right? Are we happy with where she finished on that one? Lucy?
You want me to go first? Okay.
Lucy.
Oh, God. I'm always a bit hesitant of commenting on the women's side because hopefully I'm back out there next year. What I would say that she pushed too hard too soon. That would just be my only comment on that. I think she wanted to do what Emma ended up doing and create a big enough lead that you can then sort of not rest, but you have very much control of the situation in terms of you can see everything. But that kind of backfired a little bit.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, 100%. She should have just done what Koski did. I think Koski realized he couldn't create that gap and slowed down to the pack and then just sprinted on the last lap knowing he's the best bike handler. And that's probably what Horvath should have done. And I agree with Lucy 100%. In the past, Laura has shown that she's a better biker than everybody else, power-wise. So I think she just blew up. I agree with what Lucy said.
Yeah.
And It's still top 10. I mean, you're not mad at it, but it's not what you wanted either.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely slowed down in that run, that first run part. Like, it looked like she was pulling away, and then I don't know, she just looked like she was running in mud, which, she's not the best runner, but I didn't expect her to get caught that fast, and then she just really didn't have anything after that. So Katrin, pretty strong start to the games. So, I think we have a lot of those top names in there, especially on the women's side. I don't think, other than maybe Emma Carey, it seems like everybody that we kind of expected near that top 10 did pretty well. Do you agree, Derek?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I'm chronically refreshing the leaderboard just ever since the event. But yeah, I mean, Katrin in particular, she looked really good. I would agree with both Lucy and John. Horvath came out too hot, got passed in the transition. I believe it was lap 3 or so, somewhere around there. And we said that earlier today, that the transitions are going to matter. And that's where she started to fall behind, but she'll come back from it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's about what we thought overall. Some of the bigger names we didn't hear much from,
We know where Annie was?
I don't know where she was.
She was up there at the early part. I don't know where she ended up finishing.
You know who did do better than I was expecting? Bethany was Shadburn, now Flores. I mean, we've not seen a lot from her for a long time. I competed against her at Wadapalooza last year. And I know she's fit. Like, I knew she was fit from that. And I remember seeing some interviews at the time, and Justin Kotler was like, don't underestimate how fit she is. But that, seeing her up in the top 10 in that was quite impressive, especially coming back off, she's had a pretty bad back injury for quite a long time. So that was kind of good to see her back up there. Tyler,
what's up, man? You're getting down to the media section.
Yeah.
You were at the course, right? What's that? No. You went mute. You were good, and then all of a sudden you got cut out. Yeah, we don't have a top 10. Anybody see where Danielle finished?
She was with the top pack. I had that pack of 5 girls that were after Rolf and Horvath, or Rolf and and Lawson.
Yeah,
there were 5 girls. She was in that pack at the 20-minute mark, and then she wasn't in that pack when they finished. So I don't know where she was, but I remember I saw her at the 20-minute mark with that pack.
Yeah. This is interesting from Mentally. The last 2 women through the gate passed it right after 40 minutes. Looked like Boz was over with the judges immediately after. Would not be surprised if Laura and who was with her get that last lap taken off. Tyler, are you back with us, or are you still muted? No, he's still out.
He's still muted.
He's still out. So that would be interesting if that happens. Where else? I saw another comment here. Annie and Ariel barely made it through the gate. Don't quite, but I think 11 ladies made the last lap through the gate. So all those top 11. So Annie, Ariel, made it through. We did see Emma Lawson when she finished, immediately cross the line and start grabbing her quads. In the post interview, it looked like she said that she had started to cramp up. Any concerns on your end about Emma Lawson going into the pig chipper?
No, that happens all the time when you bike long. Like you can bike really, really hard for 20, 30 minutes, cramp, be really rough, but it's just your legs filling up. Within an hour, you're fine. You're fine. You just got to walk it off. Like it happens all the time in cycling, all the time. I thought it was hilarious, her interview, though, where she goes, I was cramping on that last lap, and I thought I was about to lose it all. That's pretty hilarious. And then for her to still win, she's a freaking sweetheart, man. I think she's going to win a lot of fans over this weekend.
Yeah. Elise Carr, $1.99. Watkins, the Heat One app experience has been awesome. The Heat One app is definitely working better than Tyler's connection to our show, but super pumped about it. I don't know if he got to 5,000 signups, but definitely over 4,000, which is awesome to see. Hopefully everybody on here is signed up for that. Shifting our focus to the pig chipper, since we don't have a leaderboard yet. We have
Hey, real quick, Brian, I gotta go. My bus is here. Okay. Valerian Horvath on the pig chipper.
Awesome. And you are being subbed in for Tyler.
Sorry, guys. That was a shit show.
All good.
It's Sousa's fault. He was holding me back.
Nope.
He's trying to force
sabotaging us.
Yeah, he's sabotaging the hell out of us. He's already been drugging me. He gave me some sort of powder earlier and makes me fall asleep.
Here we go. Savon Stick 2CHF. Does anybody have any idea where that's from? Hopefully it's $200 in US currency, but best analytics on YouTube. So thank you, Savon Stick. Tyler, you were out at the course. Did you see anything that may not have been shown on the live stream? Did you see Justin Medeiros or anything from the? Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw Quant take a dump like hard. He's bloody on like the whole right side of his body.
Oh, really?
Several spots.
When did that happen?
Jeez. So there's that first huge, really sharp turn, and then they go uphill a little bit, and then they come back down, and then it transitions to gravel, and it's a little bit of a turn, but not super sharp. And he wiped out a bunch of people. Wiped out right there, and McCary wiped out in the same spot. I don't know why that spot seems to cause problems, but Quant did. And then I saw Justin dump twice.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a chain. It was just he fell, or was it?
Yeah,
he fell and a
fell
chain
twice. No, he fell twice, and he looked defeated on his face. He was just like aggravated, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think I was talking to Tebow from GOWOD right after the event, and I was like, that's the thing with these events that I don't like is like chain breaks. There's so many different things that you can't control that can go wrong in these events. I still like the events, but that's a part that I don't love. So I can keep going if you want. I got several other things, but
yeah, the shiz probably overinflated tires. Did they have any opportunity to mess with their bikes, or was everything kind of just given to them?
I think
as is?
They did measurements yesterday, and then they did that run. I don't know how much input they had on like tire pressure, different things like that. You'd be sure to know, like Brent probably was like checking. He probably had tire pressure gauge, stuff like that. But I don't know how many thought of that. You'd have to be a really seasoned biker, I think, to think about tire pressure.
If anybody thought about it, was Brent for sure.
Right.
A little off topic, but Lucy, you were not competing because of your wrist. How is your wrist, by the way?
I was going to do an announcement this week, but I may as well just do it. So I had surgery. I'm in a cast, and very much fingers crossed stuff happening at the moment. So yeah, feels like things are moving finally.
Oh man, I didn't realize that you did well this morning to cover that up.
Yeah, I was just like, keep my hands down, don't put my hands.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that heals up faster than otherwise, so you can get back out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else, Tyler? What else did you see that you can kind of share firsthand? Because we really got to see the top group, especially on the men's side. They really focused on the top 5 pack, and then the women focused on Emma and Emily Rolfe.
The separation between the top, there was like 4 groups of women, and then so there was Lawson and Rolfe, and they were out on their own, like from the get-go. And then there was a pretty good separation. There was a bulk of girls, some of the top girls, and then there was a long distance between them and the next group, and then it dwindles off from there. And then of course there's Emma Carey. How much could you all see of that?
They showed her after the crash, but it was like, it was pretty late, right? Like it wasn't like real time. They kind of went back and showed a replay of it, and then they showed her just kind of coasting on 40th.
I was there with Chris Henshaw and Ron Ortiz, and Chris was sort of analyzing it. He just talked about she did not look comfortable at all. Like she looked not new to a bike, but semi new to a bike, which is weird. You'd think they'd be bike riding, but maybe they're not doing off-road stuff. She was kind of wrecking in ways that I was like, what? You just turned there. I don't understand why you didn't turn. She did not look comfortable. And then having to deal with your brain of like, you're starting to turn in on yourself and like, I'm screwing up. And I felt for her in those moments, but it didn't look good. She never looked out of breath. She didn't look comfortable.
Yeah.
She definitely didn't look comfortable getting back on the bike after any of the transitions. Like she was almost coming to a full stop.
Yeah. I noticed that yesterday too. And I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Is she sandbagging to just know the course and like not treating it super serious? But then we come out and I was like, no, she was probably really struggling yesterday.
Austin Rovito, Justin generally may have just buckled himself for the weekend. As we think about Emma Carey, Medeiros, Vellner, Lazar, like I assume that they can all make the top 30, right? Like they can bounce back in the next 5 events and get to that. What about top 20? Like, are we starting to think that there's a chance that some of those guys may not make it to Sunday?
We didn't have cuts back then, but Rich got a 36 in the swim event or whatever. It's still early. Whatever. Yeah. He was middle of the pack. He can fight back from this as far as Justin goes.
I mean, even last year, like Laura Horvath having that Echo Press finish, and then like, she won 2 events in the last day or whatever, but like, people do come back from these things, and she came back to still finish on the podium, let alone finish in top 20.
Yeah. Derek, you have any predictions there? Think anybody on that group?
I think both Justin and Vellner are probably going to be just fine, quite honestly.
What about Lazar? What about Lazar?
Yeah, I think he will. Out of those 3, I would put my money on Justin. He's just Mr. Consistent, So once we get into some of the events that are just pure CrossFit, so to speak, he's going to be great.
Andrew Reyes, how much extra weight did Alexis Raptis have on her back during that event?
I bet it wasn't 8 pounds.
What
it was that? A camelback. A camel pack.
Oh.
They gave them the option to wear those before the event, because I actually ran into Max when he was leaving, and he wasn't coaching her directly. Adam was, but I said, why did she wear the camelback? He was like, I don't know, but he was like 40 minutes is about right where you would want to like worry about losing water and stuff like that. But he was like, I would just kind of risk it. But the athletes all had the option to wear them, just nobody did. And it was pretty warm. I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's interesting.
I wonder if she actually might try to catch up with her and see if she actually used it, because I could see you like trying to make sure like take care of yourself, but then like getting in the heat of everything and be like, never mind, I can't do it.
There were so many turns, like you didn't really have that much time to fiddle with that. I mean, other than the straightaway at the very beginning, it seemed like they were turning constantly. Well, we still don't have an update to the leaderboard. I guess we can shift. We have 15 minutes or so until they hit back on North Park for the pig chipper, which is this morning at Rogue North Park Stadium. So it is for time: 10 pig flips, 25 chest to bar pull-ups, 50 toes to bar, 100 wall balls at the standard 14 pounds and the 10 9 feet, 50 toes to bar, 25 chest to bar pull-ups, and finishing with the 10 pig flips. Have you been out to North Park, Tyler? What does the setup look like?
I've not seen it for this event. It's changed. But the rig is on the far side of the field as usual. So I'm interested to see, like, are they going to flip and then run to the rig and then maybe do the wall balls right there and then go back up on the rig again and then turn around and close. I bet that's how they do it. Proceed down the field, come back and close it off that way. Yeah.
We were talking earlier about the weight of that pig, and Lucy said that those pig flips definitely added up on the Capitol last year. I guess, Lucy, if you were doing this one this year, like, how would you approach the 10 pig flips? Are you concerned about it, or is it one of those, like, just go all out and you'll worry about the last 10 on the backside?
To be honest, I think for me, because I use something like that so infrequently, in fact, it's almost solely at the games just because of access issues. I would probably get better as I go through them, just from, like, learning through the 20 reps. But I think it would just be a case of, like, actually just do what I have to do to get to the gymnastics. And then all of that stuff is very familiar. Like, I'm actually surprised that it's just the normal 9 foot, 10 foot wall ball targets. I would have thought at this level it would have at least been both 10 foot or something like that. But the rest of it's very familiar for these guys, and it just almost becomes about grip and midline, I think, in that scenario. But yeah, like, I wouldn't necessarily tackle it any differently in terms of getting to the last set of 10 pig flips, just because I do think that they would probably end up being better than the first set.
Mm-hmm. Going back to kind of Alexis in the camelback, AHA said Jankowski took a gel or something at 20 minutes, so that he was definitely cruising there. And where is it? Ned Snedley, don't mean to brag, but I'm a perfect 2 for 2 on that first event in the Heat 1. I think we're tied, Ned. I had that as well. So, Derek, where do you think this one's going to be won or lost on the pig chipper?
I'm thinking it's going to be lost right in the middle, somewhere between the toe to bar, wall to ball stuff. I think midline, it's not a great number of volume for any of the movements, obviously in singularity, but the combination of those, I think it's going to get pretty grippy. I think Roman's going to do really well on this one, honestly. But yeah, right there in the middle, right after that, those wall balls right into the next toe to bar. And then honestly, I think those last 10 pig flips, they're going to hurt, but light's at the end of the tunnel on that. So
Tyler, where do you see it playing out differently for the men and the women from the pig flip, and kind of where the sticking point is?
I think for I think the men will handle the pig a little better overall. Like, some of the women in the field are just so small, moving mass, and guys tend to have a better time dealing with an object that's heavier than them, especially like the pig. Yeah, I think they're going to lose out in the same places. It's just going to be by how much. So the guys will get slowed down in the pig in the end, and so will the girls, but I think the girls will get even slower. The gymnastics it's all fine. Like, you get tested to see if you have a weakness there, but it's not the workout.
Yeah. How do you break these up, right? Like, once you get to the gymnastics piece and you get to the 25 chest to bar, like, how would you break these up, Lucy?
See, I think this is a really interesting one, because it actually depends on how, like, for instance, how high is the jump up to the pull-up bar, and things like that matter in this situation as to how you break it up. Because actually, if it's a small jump, you can afford to do small sets, quick drop, back up, small sets, just to save that grip fatigue. And but then at the same time, if this is a bigger jump, or if you're a smaller athlete and they only let you have one riser, for instance, so it is a bigger jump for you, that will dictate how you think about breaking it up. I think what I would always want to do is kind of either mentally negative split it from the first set of chest to bar into toes to bar into the second set of toes to bar into chest to bar, or like, well, basically by doing that, I would look to break it up a little bit more earlier so that I can then hopefully kind of hold on for bigger sets later. Because that usually kind of tends to be where you'll see it fall apart, is that people's grips will go, or their midline will fatigue quicker than they're expecting or whatever, and they've maybe held on a little bit too long, just like 1 to 2 reps for too long in the first set, and then that comes to bite them in the butt in the second set. So I think, yeah, I definitely always try to kind of mentally negative split.
Mm-hmm. Jedediah Nelson with Lawson cramping up presents a question. Are athletes allowed to IV a vitamin bag or IVs against the rules?
I don't know why you would ever think about doing that.
Inject IV, like,
yeah,
right
I guess probably. Yeah, I guess if you were dehydrated or something like that. I don't know. I guess
this is
you
a
went
quick
back
turnaround. I don't know if I would do it, but I mean, I get why you would. Like, if you had maybe a 2-hour break, I thought I probably would, but I don't think you're allowed to. I don't think that's. Yeah.
My guess is unless you're taken to medical, and even then, I'm not sure they're going to let you do that and then get back into the competition. So
that
just
stresses
after-
me out as a concept.
yeah,
After every event, you're like, oh, I'm dehydrated.
yeah. Like John said, that happens a lot in bike races. He's not that concerned about it. Really, she just needs to get through the pig, and she should be fine on that. I mean, yes, 100 wall balls are a lot, but at the 14 pounds and 9 feet, it shouldn't be too difficult to get through those. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do something heavier or different on that, to be honest. I mean, when I saw this, I thought, will they do strict toes to bar? I don't think they are. At least they haven't called it out, or potentially heavier wall balls. One thing to note, so all of the heats have already been set for today. And so there are 2 heats, 2 heats for the women, 2 heats for the men. I believe this was set by the placement in semifinals. I think they did a combined leaderboard or something like that. And so it does not matter how well you did in ride, which we still don't have a leaderboard yet, but these have all been set last night. So again, these athletes, even if they did well in ride, they're still going to be in the first heat. You'll see those names here. And then the second heat, the final heat, you have all of the big names that you would expect. So that starts at 11:15. You can go onto Instagram stories that I have to get this list here. You have Colton Mertens there in that first heat on there. Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson, Cole Sager, kind of names you don't expect to see in the first heat, but because it was all set, that's where they are. And then the second heat. Let's see, Scott Hall, any info on Kazan? Tyler, did you see her and how she was doing?
Yeah, she was in the middle of the pack. She looks good. I mean, I didn't ever think that she was gonna be like a trend or a time setter in that workout, but she was fine, like right where she needed to be.
Yeah. So let's take a look at our predictions for the pig chipper. Start with you this time, Derek. Who do you got on the men's side? We'll start there.
I don't know. I keep kind of waffling back and forth in my mind between Colton. Adler surprised me on the first workout. I think he looks stellar. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Roman on the guys' side. His capacity on the bar is great. So I'm going to go with him on the guy side, and then
okay, we'll hold off on the women. We'll go through the men first. Lucy.
I I really want Pat to do well in this, so I'm just going to say Pat.
Do you think Pat, because of where he finished, will, I mean, kind of just push extra hard on this one?
Yeah, I do think there will be an element of like mental comeback. So yeah, and also like he's pretty strong. He's good with gymnastic stuff. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Tyler,
Isn't this the one that Colton said he was going to win?
this one and the ski bag.
Ski bag.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to say that every time. If Colton's saying he's going to win, the pig presents an issue because of the leverage for him. But if he is confident enough that he's saying he's going to win, I'm going Colton on this one. That's who I'm playing. Do I think Roman has a good shot? Absolutely. I mean, this is a great workout for Roman. It's a great workout for Pat. They're big boys. They're great at gymnastics. But it scares me when Colton speaks.
He's usually not wrong about his performance there.
Yeah.
I'm going with, I guess maybe call it a dark horse. I'm going Noah Olson. So a couple reasons. A lot of experience. His gymnastics are on par. Like he's toes to bar, not an issue. I think he was one of the fastest off the toes to bar last year in bike to work. So I don't think that'll be an issue. If he can just get through the pig, I think he'll have a chance there. Now he has to be able to hold up with Roman and Hopper on that first set of pigs, and then the second one, and probably pace himself because he knows that. But I think he has a chance to do well. So that's my pick there. On the women's side, Derek.
Yeah, I was completely wrong last event, so I'm still going to stick. I'm still going to.
Who did you pick last event?
Horvath.
Okay.
He thought he called it. He knew it. He thought he was going to be number one right there in the first 2 minutes, and then.
Oh man, I was feeling good. I was feeling good in the first 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna pick with Horvath again for event 2. I think she's gonna do it.
Just every event, he's like
every
Horvath.
time.
That's what I'm gonna do. I've got to get one right at some point. Right?
It's the analysis you didn't know you needed. Just Horvath every time.
Right,
Lucy.
Right.
I mean, annoyingly, I was going to go the same, just because she's got that, you know, rock climbing background, good grip endurance, that kind of thing. Now I feel like I have to choose someone else.
You don't have
Hell
to.
with that.
No.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
I think you need to stick with it, Lucy. Come on.
just go down together. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah, he's like,
Well, last time I did.
All right. So you're going with Horvath again. All right.
Give me
Spin
a
who you
second.
got.
I'm going to look at the list and then I'll come back.
All right. If you change your mind, let me know. I am going with Gabby Magala. And so, again, I look at this like the Capitol, right? Like Lucy said earlier on the morning show, that the Capitol was a sneaky strength event. And so you kind of have that combination of started off with the pig, and then you have this big, huge section of gymnastics that is going to be somewhat, you know, metabolically conditioning tax type of a workout, and then go back to the pig where she has that ability we see to go with the strongman implements. And so I think she'll be able to be up in that top and then just hang on for the pig. Tyler?
sorry, Peter's distracting me. He's just
get him a
nice.
Peter. There he is. Peter, who you got?
Who have I got for what?
This next event, the pig chipper.
Pig chipper.
I was just talking to Yami, and he said that the pig on the way back is where the separation is going to come because people's grip is going to be screwed and they're just going to start falling apart. And then he said he walked past North Park and he'll be warning everyone of how hot it is because he was like, it's crazy hot, like the surface temperature, because it's basically like, you know, when people put magnifying glasses on ants. It's basically what's happening in North Park because it's like a box that absorbs heat and holds onto it. It's like it's quite warm anyway, just out and about, but the turf is nuts.
The turf just bakes you.
So yeah, I'd say the pig on the way back.
Oh, the boys are going to struggle because they get super sweaty, and you get on that pig, and it's made of that. It's got that vinyl on the outside. It's just going to slip off your hands.
Yeah, the meme creators that are here will get some good content for chalking up.
Who do you have? Who are you picking?
Who's in your heat one?
Look at this dude. He's being a G. He's pulling out the app right now. While he's doing that, I'm going Alex Kazan.
Yeah.
Look at these. Thank you, everybody.
Alex
I'm picking
Kazan.
Alex Kazan. All right, I like her strength is good. She's good at gymnastics. Maybe she won't be a winner, but I think she'll be somebody to watch. And it's like if we've seen improvement in her this year, I think we'll see it in this event.
Mm-hmm.
My data isn't good. So
It's okay. Mine's,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I don't have anyone picked.
What do you guys think about Ellie Turner? She was absolutely blazing through the pig last year. Are her gymnastics good enough to stay with everybody else?
When we did the Wodapalooza, the last event at Wodapalooza that was like 55 toes to bar to start off with, she had a massive comeback on the devil press, but the toes to bar volume was quite slow for her. So I think she'll be quite quick to get to the pig flip, but I don't know what will happen from there.
There you go, Sean. Pick a Kazan if you want to get her in there. Question here from Kathy: why is Ellie in Heat 1? She won Torian. Again, I think that's because they did some type of combined leaderboard. At least that's what the rule book said, which I'm not sure that's the best way of doing it, just from a standpoint of like there's different timing. We obviously saw plenty of differences between the venues. So it definitely puts her at a disadvantage from where that was. So that's why she's out there. Hopefully, because it's 20 athletes, she's not going to get pushed on that.
I think there are a lot of good athletes as well that are still in Heat 1. Like you've got McQuaid in Heat 1, and I think Emily Rolfs in Heat 1, and like it's not like it's complete rookies or anything like that.
It's a weird day. It's we're not sure of who needs to be where yet. You're going to see athletes in weird heats that probably don't belong there.
So I play the shot caller in two different ways because there's two different ones. There's like the world. Sorry, let's shoot with a hat on.
You look shit without it, AJ.
It's just me. Blue hats are different.
Blue's okay. Come on now.
Oops. I play it in because it's two different games. I get to play it the two different ways that I usually do fantasy. So I do one where I'm like, now let's be an analyst and see who might do well in this. And then I do the other where I'm like, I really like that guy and I hope he does well.
So you have Emma McQuaid? You have Emma McQuaid in one?
I've Emma McQuaid in the male and the female heat.
Nice.
No, I have some Sivan shot caller. That's with my heart one. I have Hopper and Matilda Garnis in that one. I think it'd be cool if Hopper got a bit of redemption in it, like a strongman type of workout outside. And then I have Adler, and I'm trying not to make it obvious that the app is slow at loading up.
Yeah.
Adler, that's the right one. Adler, and I have a female athlete as well. And I only picked him a second ago, but I've already forgotten who it is.
Man,
Jason Harper.
Yep, Jason Harper got some help from strongman Mitch Hooper on how to flip the pig.
Danielle Brandon and Jeffrey Adler. They're my two.
The DB is a good pick.
They're my head picks, and Hopper and Garnis are my heart picks. I've gone for like mainly tall people because I figure on the pig.
Yeah.
And Danielle Brandon, if she just gets angry, she'll flip it once and it'll cover the field.
Hey, Peter, you got 1 second. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
Real quick, ESC Sounds, Alexis Raptis will crush this event. Tyler, what are your thoughts on her? And then I want to hear from you on teams after that, Peter.
Alexis Raptis is going to finish top 5 this year.
For sure.
Yeah.
In this event, I think she'll be top 10 for sure. I'm not going to push any higher than that.
Yeah. All right. We've obviously covered up the teams. They actually started going while the men were on the bike. Peter, I think you were out there watching the teams, right?
Yeah.
Give us an update on what happened with the teams. The team expert.
So it was actually really good. It was actually really good. Well, not for everyone, but for me, enjoying it. So I was between Invictus and their coach. And so in the Heat 1, Oba, just were really good. And Milford pulled back. They were, Oba were first off, they were buying every time, averaging 20, 25 reps each round. And then Milford had, just reeled them back in on whenever Kelsey Keel and her partner were out. They just reeled in a couple of reps every time. And they passed them out going into the last interval, but then Oba just blitzed the last interval. They got 12 reps over Milford in the last round. But then in the second heat, I was like, okay, Invictus are doing really well here. They look really good. Like Jorge was first out, whatever. And then I heard their coach say, he asked Jorge, are you still good going second? And Jorge said, yeah. So they continued on. And then he asked Alshama, are you still good going second? And he said, no. And I was like, uh-oh, you probably shouldn't say that out loud. And then he said he was paired with Devin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Devin, okay, swap with Devin. And Alshama goes, no, she's fucked. She can't do it either. So then Alshama goes up the rope. So sorry, just before this, Tim Poulsen got a no rep. So he went up the rope. It was proven, tit for tat proven in Invictus. Tim Poulsen went up the rope, started his descent, glanced down at his judge who shook his head, and he went back up, finished the rep, came back down. So his no rep was like, 3 seconds and a tiny bit of extra fatigue. Alshama went up the rope after saying, I think I'm in trouble. He went up the rope, came back down the rope, and he slid his hands down the rope for about a foot, sat down. The judge shook her head, gave him a no rep because you had to hand over hand on the way down. You couldn't slide. So she sealed his fate. He was fucked. He couldn't. Sorry if you're looking for not swearing, but well, you get you know what you get. But he got no reps. He's just sat there lay back on the mat. He was defeated. They didn't get any reps in that round. He didn't finish his rope climb in the last round either. So they were gone completely. They missed 4 minutes worth of squats or whatever. And then that opened the door for Proven. But then Taylor Williamson failed a rep as well, and she couldn't get up the rope. And then Mayhem came out of nowhere and passed everyone out, and having been midway through the pack the whole way through, but they were just consistent. You could see some of those Invictus and Proven, in hindsight, maybe a bit too hot on the skier, probably no need to rush it that much. And they were kind of blowing up their lats and forearms doing that. And then when they're on the rope, they were in trouble. But Mayhem looked really impressive. And it was, kind of not much of a surprise to see people clapping a Mayhem team off the field. But it's a good start, I think. It's it just shows as well how close it's going to be, because people would expect if Invictus don't win, Proven will win. If Proven don't win, Oslo will win. If Oslo don't win, but then Mayhem haven't really been talked about as much as the others, just because it's not the same. But they're showing that they're well in the fight, and I think this is going to be the closest team competition probably in the history of the sport, I'd say.
Did you see what happened to Tori and Mayhem?
No.
They're down there in 28th. This was 175 overhead squats as part of a relay. Nobody got within 43. So over-programmed?
Yeah, I mean, they probably just thought. I mean, that first heat, you could see the rope climbs failing pretty early doors, compared to the second heat. Yeah. That's kind of always going to happen. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it might have been better to have them both do the ski and just one rope climb between them in each interval. That they would have gotten closer to finishing it, or else lower the reps, because it was just it's a bit silly when you look up at the screen and Mayhem win it and it's cap plus 40 whatever, and that's the winning score. And then I think there was 5 teams on plus 50 because they all failed their last round each, so but I think we were 5th or 6th overall, I think, were they? Or is there 6th? Yeah, that's pretty good for being in that second heat. Yeah, they won't be there for long. They'll be up inside the top 12 or 10, I'd say, before long.
All right, it looks like they're getting back on the individual field. One last comment, CJ. Lucy Campbell for the commentating win, always top notch contributions. So
he
sorry
misspelled
about
my name, and he said,
sorry about your season, but absolutely love it when you contribute to broadcasts. Thank you again, Lucy.
Thank you.
Everyone, go head back over to YouTube. They are starting event 1. We will be back after they finish up on the men's in a couple hours. So see you later.
Thanks, guys.